Welcome to the Fantasy Football Locker Room. Episode 2, Season 1. We're going to Week 2 of NFL, Week 3 of NCAA. I'm here with my co-hosts, BJ Allen and Andrew Fryman. We have one more week until the final part of our quad lineup. Jim Stroker joins, but I do have some picks for you from him as well. I'm your host, Lucas. How are you guys doing today?
Doing good, man. Got a great football matchup tonight. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to getting started week 2.
Same here, man.
I love that.
Same thing. Crazy matchup tonight. We've had the Bills and the Rams last week, and now Thursday night you got the Kansas City and Chargers. Man, that's too crazy.
What do you guys think about that game tonight? What's your guys' prediction? I actually just made a TikTok at FF Perspective where I just say random shit every single week, it seems like. And I think tonight's game seems too obvious. And every time it's too obvious, it blows up in my face. I think the Chiefs should roll. Short week, Chargers rolling into town on a short week. They're down Keenan Allen, their best possession receiver. And quite frankly, I think the Chiefs' offense is better than last year. What do you guys think? They have tons of multi-dimensional receivers. It's not just the Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce show.
I agree. I think Mahomes isn't trying to force the ball as much this year. He threw 5 touchdowns last week. Absolutely insane. He looks comfortable. They look like they're on a mission this year, which that's pretty scary.
Yeah, I agree. What do you think, B?
I definitely agree with that. You just got so many dimensions. You got Mecole Hardman, who is literally just like Tyreek Hill. Then you add Juju, who's this big, huge slot guy, which, you know, you can also put Travis Kelce in the slot. So you got 2 of those big receivers right there that Mahomes loves to target. But I don't know, man. They look good, dude. And Clyde Edwards-Helaire, man, if he's healthy, they got a good running back. That's what they've been missing in the past, too.
Yeah, I like the way they used him last week. They didn't try to run him up the middle like they have in the past. They used him with screens and more gadget type plays and let him go around the side. Gadget. Yeah, gadget plays. The best type of plays. Yeah, but as always, we're going to start our episode with BJ's pregame speech.
All right. Well, we didn't do so hot last week, but listen, it's a new week. We're still learning. Like I said last week, we're gonna go in. Polley, we need you to step up a little bit, put a little bit more money in there, get a little better. But we'll do better this week. Promise you guys. Just listen to our advice.
Oh, yeah. I'm fired up now.
I'm fired up, too. I did not have a good week in the betting world. I put some money in Alvin Kamara stock. I put a lot of money in the Robert Wood stock. I made a late switch from Brandon Ayuk to Mike Davis after I saw the weather in Chicago, and I don't think Mike Davis saw the field. And there was a lot of lineups I had Brandon Ayuk in. And to be quite honest, I wouldn't have done much better if I would have left Ayuk in there, but there was no real great receivers at 5'6" other than Duvernay, and I just couldn't get myself to pull the trigger on him. So
Me either.
Those cheap receivers, the cheaper options just didn't hit very well, I feel like.
Not last week.
It was crazy. But we're going to recap Jim Stroker's Blazing 5 picks of the week real quick. And again, he's not here. He didn't share with me 5 new picks, but he gave me a little bit of insight for tonight. And we'll bring up our trusty spreadsheet here. Can you guys see that okay?
Yes.
Okay. So Jim last week went 4-1 in week 1. As always, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, I don't think he did very good. Then I go back and look at it, and he goes 4-1 week 1. And all these lines you see are with his suggestion to buy a certain amount of points. He went Arkansas minus 6.5, Vanderbilt plus 13.5. That's the game he missed. Tennessee minus 6, Illinois minus 2.5, and USC minus 7. We'll briefly touch on these real quick. Arkansas beat the heck out of South Carolina. Here's a overrated player if I've ever seen one, Spencer Rattler. He is just garbage. I mean, he has been overrated since he stepped on a football field. And not only that, he seems like a prick. And here's the game he missed. Wake Forest put a beat down on Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt did not cover the plus 13.5. Tennessee squeaked one out, though. I think the line was minus 7.5, and Jim told you, buy a point, get it to minus 6.5. And there you go, Jim Stroker's advice. I swear that guy can see the future. And then Illinois puts a complete ass whooping on Virginia. Line doesn't even make sense. And then last but not least, he loved USC to cover. And I think at one point it was like 35-7. And they called off the dogs. USC scored their first 5 possessions. They looked great. Their offense looks completely scary, to be completely honest with you. If they get a defense, it's going to be a little crazy. Yep. So, as you guys know, me, BJ, and Andrew each week pick one game that we like. You could be college, it could be NFL, whatever we like. Our 3 games we picked. Lucas's bet of the week was the Lions +6. I told you if you're feeling frisky, you pick the Lions outright. They did cover the +6. Hopefully not too many of you guys were feeling frisky. Andrew picked Jaguars straight up, and that was looking like a really good bet towards like mid to late third quarter. But Washington just never went away. They ended up stealing the game in the fourth quarter, 28-22. Andy starts off 0-1, and BJ picked Notre Dame, and I actually agree with you. I thought Notre Dame was better. But I'm interested to see the statistics after a ranked opponent loses to another ranked opponent, like the big matchup. I feel like they always suck the week after, especially with Ohio State for whatever reason. We play a tough game, we beat the heck out of someone. That next week they suck, man. Why does that happen?
That's happened multiple.
They lay an egg.
They lay an absolute egg, and it's hard to watch, and it's just like now that win doesn't look good at all. Notre Dame's out of the top 25. I mean, they looked like garbage. Their quarterback looked horrible.
They do it to spite us.
Yep.
They do.
So we're here, right there, and we'll briefly touch on this. We each do a touchdown call of the week. My prediction was Nick Chubb. Although he had a great game, he did not reach the end zone. Kareem Hunt seems to be the red zone guy, so keep that in mind. BJ called it every year. They bring in Kareem Hunt in the red zone. He scores the touchdown. Nick Chubb does all the work to get us down there. And here comes Kareem Hunt.
They do it every year.
Yeah. Andy, Michael Pittman, nice call. Michael Pittman, the solidified number 1 option in Indianapolis. 9 catches for 110 yards and a touchdown. Looking like a solidified wide receiver 1 on the season. And BJ, Christian Kirk, same thing. Great game. Had a fantastic game, but did not find the end zone. If you put our touchdown calls of the week in your lineup, you probably had a good week because they were all over 15 fantasy points. So keep that in mind. I mean, you weren't winning $1 million with them, but you were definitely in the money. So there's our lines of the week. Do you guys have anything to add to any of that you want to say before we move on?
We'll touch base on a couple of them when we get into it.
My good friend Jim is not going to give us a blazing 5 this week, unfortunately, but he does have a couple picks that he wants me to say, and it has to do with tonight's game. He said, over, under, 54. Guess what he said to bet?
Under.
Yep, he said buy 1.5, get it to 55.5, and bet the under. The unders are outstanding on Thursday nights, ladies and gentlemen. This game seems like it'll be a score fest. Watch at the end of the first quarter when it's like 7-3 or 10-3 or 3-3.
Those short weeks.
Short weeks
kill them.
People don't play well, or I mean, I think the money's going to go on the Chiefs heavily, but I watch the Chargers just come out and mollywop them. Something crazy. Thursday nights, man. Thursday nights really suck for betting. If you're actually betting on the games, I would stay clear of Thursday nights. They just never.
I like the Chargers tonight. I think Justin Herbert plays well against Patrick Mahomes. He did last year.
Mm-hmm. I don't think he's going to play bad. I just think, I don't know. I just feel like short week. I don't know. I think they're going to be well. That's where we're at. So we're going to start our lineup right here. BJ, you want to take the honors today and read us the over-unders for these? Let me save this real quick.
Pull me up here.
I'm just going to put this down. I don't know what the heck it's saying. So there you go. Let's go.
All right, so here we go tonight. We already touched base on that. So we go over the Carolina New York Giants. We got a 43.5. Giants in favor, -2. New England Patriots and the Steelers, 40.5. It's pretty low. It's kind of crazy. You go down there. You got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Saints, 44.5. I figured that line would be a little higher, but okay. New York Jets and Browns, 39.5. I think that's pretty well set. What else we got here? We got Dolphins and Ravens, 44.5. And then we got Commanders, Detroit, 48.5. Indianapolis Colts and Jaguars, 44.5. We got the Falcons and the Rams, 47 even. You don't really see too much of that. And this is an odd one. Seattle and San Francisco, 42 straight up. And then we got over there the Houston Texans and the Denver Broncos, 45.5. And then the big game, Arizona Cardinals and the Raiders, we got 51.5. That's the high. That's like Andy said earlier, we didn't have a lot of over 50 over and unders, and that's the only one on the slate today, on this week. The Bengals, Cowboys, 41.5.
That's it on the main slate, but there are 2 Monday night games and a Sunday.
Love 2 Monday night games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Two good Monday night games at that.
Yeah, solid.
Like that.
Very solid.
We'll stick to our main slate. I think there's some good games we can target, and we're going to get into this. Like I said, our lineup, unfortunately, last week did not do well. I will bring that up real quick.
Bounce back.
Bounce back day, baby.
Bounce back, yeah.
Our quarterback was who?
I think we did Lamar, didn't we?
Oh, yeah, Lamar Andrews. Was it Kamara Barkley?
Yeah, that was it right there.
Yep.
Oh, of course. Takes me to a different thing. Oh, there it is. We scored 100.32.
Is this the one where you switched out Mike Davis?
Yeah, because we had Ayuk in there.
Yeah, we did.
And then Detroit gave up the most points on the slate.
Ooh, yeah.
So defense killed us.
Just so you guys know, if you look right there, 100.32, and it's not cashing. So you got to get up in the 120s, 130s to cash in these things.
It was 119 cutoff this time. And this killed us. Kamara killed us. Thielen, what the heck was up with that, dude? I mean, Jaheir Alexander legitimately did not guard Jefferson. What are they doing?
I don't know. That's so crazy to me.
How
I
was
think he
he not-
guarded him that one time, and he just burned him. Like,
Yeah.
I think he was scared to get embarrassed.
I mean, that was pathetic. But this is where
Jefferson's
we're at.
insane.
I thought this was a guaranteed lineup. Marquise Brown was real quiet, and then he scored that late touchdown, put him in the 12. St. Brown, man, that guy is crazy. So, like, the first, I was seeing there's only like 8 players in history that have 8 games in a row with 10-plus targets. He has at 7 right now. One more game with 10-plus targets, it's crazy.
Solidified number 1.
yeah.
But there we are with that lineup. I did make the late switch to Mike Davis. I thought he was going to get a run. Everything I read said that he was going to be the guy for the red zone. He had 2 carries for 11 yards.
Man, even Mark Andrews underperformed.
Yeah, Mark Andrews, probably a big bounce back week here.
Hey, Sauce Gardner ain't no joke, though, boys.
That's true.
That dude, he's a dog, man.
We just had some players that we really thought were going to excel that just purely didn't. So that's the art of FanDuel. You get sold on players and then you go. So, as always, we are going to start with Andy's fact of the day. And Andy, hit us with the fact, man.
My stat, this week I'm going to give you some history. And we all know the news with Queen Elizabeth. But the truth is, she has reigned for 30% of the U.S. history. How crazy is that?
That's actually wild.
30% of U.S. history.
That's actually wild.
Queen Elizabeth has reigned. I mean, I forget. She was in her 90s, I believe.
So she's seen football in her day.
That's just absolutely insane to me. But like Luke said, you never know what stat I'm going to give you. So
That's a
bit
good
of history
stat.
this week.
A little bit of history lesson. Hey, put a comment below if you like that stat. And how about our audience gives us a stat of the day or a fact of the day in our comments? I just want to hear the most random stuff out there. We want to learn something. I definitely just learned something. I love it. That's the kind of stuff we're looking for. Andy, take us away. Running backs.
Running backs. I'm going to give you 3 running backs I love this week. And just a little tidbit this week, since the over-unders they're pretty low this week, my lineups probably are going to be more focused with medium-ranged quarterback and medium-range receivers, and I'm going to spend up for running backs this week. My number 1 running back favorite running back on the slate, hands down, is Joe Mixon, and I'll tell you why. He had a pretty good game Sunday, despite everything that went down with the Bengals-Steelers game. He ended up with 27 carries for 82 yards. Definitely like the only guy that showed up on offense. I think total yards with the catches, he had 147 or somewhere around there. So he got quite the workload on Sunday. And let's not forget, Leonard Fournette just torched Dallas for 127 yards, I believe, on the ground. So Leonard Fournette torched the Cowboys, and I think Joe Mixon will do the same this week.
I like it.
Two other I like besides Joe Mixon is Saquon Barkley, and I love Darrell Henderson for 6,200. He seems to be the clear-cut guy in the Rams offense. And Saquon Barkley, we were talking last week, I believe he is back 100%.
Dude, he looked good. He looked so good.
He's back.
And I don't think that's like recency bias. He had his explosion.
Yeah. But do you guys agree with Joe Mixon this week, or do you think I'm off with that?
I like
Love
it.
Joe Mixon this week.
I think the whole Bengals offense and segue to my defense, they were way too cheap of a defense for FanDuel. 3,900 against the worst offensive line in the NFL and the backup QB for under 4,000. I'm just going to go ahead and lock them into our defense because that's just like that feels
It's a
like
misprice.
that feels like stealing.
Bengals last week, man, their defense is what kept them in the game.
They're
too.
solid. Yeah,
I mean,
defense is solid.
I legitimately might have 100% Bengals defense in this week.
I think I will too. That's too cheap.
I checked the defense before the show, and there's literally nothing. Bengals stands out 100%.
Yeah. BJ, how about you take us away with the wide receivers?
Yeah, man, this week there's some news coming out. Mike Evans didn't practice today. Michael Pittman didn't practice today. So you got to, if you play FanDuel, if you're going to play this week, you really need to pay attention to that. You might want to wake up about noon Sunday, 11 Sunday, keep on the phone, make sure you're getting your updates on there. So there's a couple players that I'm really interested in. Andy took Joe Mixon, man. I love Jamar Chase. That's my guy this week. He is my guy, hands down. Just sitting there last night, I was watching some tape against him and Trayvon Diggs, and he ate him alive. And I know that's who they're going to put on Jamar Chase Sunday. So I could see Jamar Chase easily going over 100, scoring a touchdown, maybe two. He's my favorite receiver this week. And then I was, Devontae Adams is sitting right above him. You can't say no. His grandparents are going to be at the game, I read. So
Oh my gosh.
He might put on a show. It's going to be really hard to fit those two guys, but I think for the price, 88, 87, you can't go wrong either way. I think they both can get you 30 plus fantasy points this week, 20s, 30s. Looking down there, another guy we talked about, touch base on, was a Monroe St. Brown. I love him this week. Love him, love it. I think he's going to break that eight game streak with 10 targets. I think it's going to happen again. Then there's a couple more, man. There's so many different ones this week. Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, man. I'm looking down there. I think they play Houston this week, and that's who Indy played last week, and they torched him on the receiver end, man. So I don't know which one you can go with. I'm leaning personally more towards Cortland Sutton than Jerry Jeudy this week, just because of the target share and what happened against the Seattle game. I think Cortland Sutton had way more targets than Jeudy Monday night. So I'm leaning more towards Cortland Sutton myself. But no, man, Brandon Cooks is one that I think is also being way overlooked. His target share is insane. I haven't really heard anybody talking about him this week. He's up a little bit, Polley. He's 5,700. I love him this week. Davis Mills is a baller, dude. People got to realize, he looks like one of the best quarterbacks that they drafted in his draft class, and he was with some apparent studs.
He's underrated.
He's very underrated. But another thing, I got a little thing. I was talking about Brandon Ayuk this week. They're having that trouble running back just like they did at the end of the year last year. When that happened last year, Brandon Ayuk started to spike. That's because they're using Debo more in the run game, which I expect them to 100% do again. They did it against the Bears. He was the only running back to score a touchdown last week. So I expect Debo. I expect Debo to be a little bit more of a wide back, and then I expect Brandon Ayuk could have a little game. My dart throw, though, honestly, is Juwan Jennings. I read in camp all this past summer that Trey Lance loved Juwan Jennings, and it showed. He had about, I think, 6 to 7 targets. I can't remember exactly, but 6 targets last game, I think, or
Yep,
something.
6 targets, 4 receptions.
Yeah, I mean, he's targeting him. In the red zone, he's a big guy. He's that go up and catch the ball type of receiver, too.
Sleeper pick. I like it.
That'd be my dart throw. And then I got one other thing. If Michael Pittman does not play, which right now it's not looking too good, you really don't want to see your receiver going, Thursday missing practice.
Yeah, check that tomorrow for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Because he practiced yesterday.
Yeah, he practiced yesterday. It seemed all signs were pointing good. Then today he didn't practice. But if he sits out, I know you can't put him in the flex or you can't put him nowhere, Polley, but I love Naim Heinz. Love him. I think that you're going to see a lot of people lean more towards Paris Campbell and Alec Pierce and those kind of guys. But I really think that they're going to pound the ball with Jonathan Taylor, and then I think they'll put Naim Heinz in the slot. I think those two guys will be side by side. Naim Heinz had 6 targets last game with 10 fantasy points.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Polley talked about this, before the season. One of my big predictions was Naim Heinz, just because I love the slot role that he's in, and they don't have any receivers. That's why we love Pittman. But with him gone, Naim Heinz is basically a receiver. So I think he's a huge sleeper pick this Sunday. He's fairly cheap too. I think 50.
Yeah.
50
We'll see. We'll see who we can fit at the end here. Yeah. But I'm with you guys. I like your guys' picks a lot. I am putting your dart throw in there. I like him a lot too. I was looking at him. One more receiver that I like on top of what you said is Curtis Samuel. He got targeted so many times, dude. It was like 15 targets.
It's insane.
Nobody gets targeted that much.
Thing, Polley. We've seen him there forever. Jeff Okudah, man. Jeff Okudah locked Devontae Smith up last game. Locked him up. Mm-hmm. So Curtis Samuel could be a good pick because I think Jeff Okudah is going to be put on Terry. Mm-hmm. He knows Terry's game too. He used to lock him up in practice. We know as Buckeyes, we've seen him play. Jeff Okudah is one of the most underrated players in Buckeye history, I think. So mm-hmm. I think he's definitely going to have a great year, Jeff Okudah. So I'd be wary of taking Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, I like Dotson and Curtis Samuel a lot more. Going into the tight ends, and one more receiver I want to throw out there that had a horrible week last week. Everything looks like it's going to be horrible, but they are going to be in probably the most negative game script out of any team, and that's the Dallas Cowboys. That wouldn't surprise me if you look at the box score and they have 45 throws at the end of the game just because they're getting killed. So I like CeeDee Lamb as a dart throw. I know the matchup isn't favorable, but the amount of volume that he could potentially get, it could break the slate. He could get 15 to 20 targets because just they have to throw the ball. Avoid Zeke at all cost. You can throw some dart throws at Tony Pollard, again, because the negative game script. But this is leading right into my tight end play of the week, 5,600, Dalton Schultz. Bengals aren't great against tight ends, and again, I think they're going to launch the ball 45, 50 times because they're going to have to keep up.
I love that pick.
So I'm locking in Dalton Schultz.
Great pick for cheap.
5,600. I couldn't believe it when I saw the price. He had a really good week last week. He scored 9.7 and had 9 targets. I expect a very similar thing. You add a touchdown to that, then we're talking about tight end 2 or 3 on the week. So
yeah, they ain't going to let Cooper Rush go the yard. They're going to dot him up. They're going to do some crossing routes
routes, short routes, post, just simple stuff. I'm with Andy. What he said at the beginning. I'm going to spend up at other positions, probably receivers and running backs. Then I'll probably won't spend up on the quarterback. And I did do a couple lineups already where I had Matt Ryan in there. He is way too damn cheap. I think he's pretty much guaranteed 20 points. But I also like Daniel Jones here sleeping for the rushing upside as well. Carolina is not good. Jacoby Brissett, I don't know if you guys know this. If you watched the Browns game last week, they scored on 55% of their possessions. 55%. That's more than the Buffalo Bills. And they barely won. That tells you how slow the Browns are playing. If you have a faster paced offense against that same defense, I really think he has the potential to break the slate. My heart tells me to lean more towards Matt Ryan. I also like Derek Carr. I think that's a high-scoring matchup. So I'm going to actually throw Derek Carr in there just because I think we can fit him. And we have 5,200 left, and I think we can probably get Heinz in there, hopefully.
I tell you what, though, if you go Matt Ryan and stack him with Heinz, that's not bad.
Ooh, I like that. I like that even more. Now you're thinking. Now we got a little stack.
Yep.
I also like Travis Etienne as well. I think a lot of people are going to sleep on him. Trevor Lawrence overthrew him in the end zone once, and he dropped a touchdown pass. So he legit should have had 2 more touchdowns. He should have had 2 touchdowns. I mean, this lineup's looking juicy, boys. I can look at this lineup and
there it is.
I think that is a unique ass lineup.
Yeah,
it is.
I love that.
Mm-hmm. So segueing in, Andrew, give me your touchdown call of the week.
Touchdown call of the week. You know who I'm saying. He did not get the end zone last week, despite all those carries. I'm going Joe Mixon.
Love it. BJ?
I'm going to have to go with my guy, Jamar Chase, man. I think that he's going to absolutely torch Diggs, man. I do not like Diggs at all as a cornerback. I think he has great hands. I think he's just not good enough to be a receiver at the next level, but he's quick enough and he has great hands and, good ball skills that he can. But I just watching film on that Bama LSU game and watching Jamar Chase go for 160 and a touchdown. I think it's going to be more of the same tomorrow or Sunday. I
think Dalton Schultz is going to get a cheap touchdown this week. I think the Bengals are going to blow him out. Might be the end of the game when they're in cover 3, prevent defense, and Dalton Schultz is just running rampant by himself. Yeah. Kind of like what the Jets did last week with their tight end. Conklin scored a touchdown within the last 8 minutes just because they were just tired of playing defense. So
yeah,
I think it's going to be a cheap one. I don't think it's going to be anything going to write home about, but I think Dalton Schultz has a great week for his price. Any bets that you guys like? We haven't got our bets of the week yet. What 3 bets or what bet do you like, BJ? Have you got to look at the lines yet?
Are we doing just the?
You can do NFL or college whatever
football,
you want.
Whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude. I was looking at the lines and I seen BYU plus 3.5 against Oregon. I think Oregon's trash. I think Bo Nix is not very good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's good at all. BYU plus 3.5 seems like a give me, in my opinion.
Seems like a steal.
And then another one I really like. I like the Ohio State. I usually don't bet on the Buckeyes. I don't bet on teams that I like. I think that's bad juju. But I really, really like the Ohio State over 62. There's a stat with the Toledo. They have beat their last 2 opponents with a combined score of 88 points. So I think the Buckeyes come out swinging early. I think we put up about 47 points. I think that they could sneak in 2 touchdowns towards the end of the game, put you over 62. I mean, we could score 50 against them, and you never know. But I think that with that, the ending, I think it's going to be about the fourth quarter. Our guys are going to be sitting. I think Toledo probably keeps in their first stringers, and they score maybe 2 touchdowns, maybe a field goal, and we beat them by.
I like that. Andrew, did you pick yours?
Not yet. I'm going to college, and I'm going to take Penn State to win outright against Auburn. Both teams are 2-0, but Auburn has beat just literal high school teams. Yeah. I think they beat San Jose only by 8 points, and they just haven't played anybody. And I think that's crazy. They say Penn State's going to win by 3, but I think it's going to be a complete blowout in my opinion. Auburn's horrible.
Battle of the mids.
I'm going to give you 2. I think the Saints cover. Minus 2.5. I'm buying a point to get to plus 3.5. The Saints have Tampa's number, man. Tom Brady has not beaten the Saints since he's been to Tampa. He can't beat them. You're giving me plus 3.5. If you're feeling frisky, ladies and gentlemen, take the Saints straight up. I really think they have their number. I don't know what they do different. I mean, Marshawn Lattimore completely shuts down Mike Evans. And now you're telling me they might not have any receivers out there? Every single one of the receivers are on the injury report. What's going to happen? Yeah. They're going to shut down Fournette, and then Tom Brady's going to be looking lost. I think the last game was 9-0. And this game, I don't like betting on Thursday night games, but this game's really, really screaming at me. I would take the Chiefs. I'd buy a point and a half. If you can get it to minus 2.5, I think they can win by a field goal. At home, short week, all those weapons, Chargers without their best possession receiver. I really, really like that matchup tonight. Those are 2 for you. What do you guys think, man? You guys feeling better about this week? Let's show that $1 million lineup from last week. What do you think?
Yeah, let's see that winning lineup. Honestly, that lineup that won, it was nothing special.
I tell you one running back that I really, really, really like this week, though. I love him to death. I love Antonio Gibson this week. I think that even when Brian Robinson comes back, I think he's going to be their power back, and I really think they're going to go back to Antonio Gibson's roots and use him as a receiver. I mean, he had like 7 targets or something like that last game.
The dude's a baller. I don't know why they don't like Antonio Gibson, but
he's so good. I love Antonio Gibson this week.
He's great. Antonio Gibson's great. The only problem with him is he's 1 fumble away from not seeing the field. Yeah. He's fumbled so many times. He's in the doghouse, man. This is the winning lineup. This lineup is nothing. I'm just going to say it.
So
anybody
simple.
could pick that.
The only thing that I had exposure to every single one of these players besides Pittsburgh's defense.
Pittsburgh's defense.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have Michael Carter.
I'd had him in a couple after I read that he was a starter. But
yeah,
I just wouldn't have taken my chances with Pittsburgh Steelers defense, man. I just felt like in my bones.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I didn't want to lose my 100 to Jim, but I just felt like in my bones, man, the Cincinnati Bengals would come out swinging. But
yeah, Jim Stroker took $100 from a lot of people betting the Pittsburgh Steelers to win outright against the Bengals. I just can't. That game, man, I've never been so mad at the Bengals in my entire life.
Flop fest.
Dude, what is wrong with the field goals? I know it's the long snapper or whatever, but the snaps weren't horrible. They were not horrible. I watched it.
Yeah.
Not good.
That game was mind-blowing, honestly.
Oh, it was horrible, man. It was like Jim Stroker was controlling that damn ball. That's what it looked like to me. When that extra point got blocked, I was like, oh my God, this is not good.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that.
Jamar Chase definitely scored that first touchdown, and then they run up and call a play real fast. I was like, this is just horrible clock management. They punt the ball super quick. They could have burned 15 seconds off that. Frustrating.
Yeah, it got so frustrating. Oh, no doubt.
He has a lot. Yeah.
Bad coaching.
Horrible coaching that game, and he's better than that. You really could have made this lineup better. I'm looking at this lineup. I think we were all on the Dolphins and Patriots defense, so I had put the Dolphins in a lot. You could have upgraded to the Dolphins and downgraded from Christian Kirk to Duvernay and won the $1 million.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty crazy.
Simple switch like that.
Mm-hmm. And
we mentioned DeAndre Swift. We mentioned Barkley.
Mm-hmm.
Eckler with the 14 carries at 36 yards is rough.
Yeah, they're just jamming them up the middle, man. Jamming them up the middle.
You'll probably see some of that tonight.
I think they're going to get them on the outside a little bit tonight.
They better.
The Chiefs have a sneaky good D-line, man. They just drafted a first-round draft pick. Their linebackers suck.
Yeah,
terrible.
Their linebackers are very bad.
But Chris Jones is good, and then they just drafted the first-round defensive end.
That's what they needed.
So, anything else that you guys want to say to the audience before we close out the Fantasy Football Locker Room Episode 2, Season 1, 2022?
Yeah, I think BJ is going to win the $1 million this weekend.
Dude, if one of us wins $1 million, we're doing this show live from Las Vegas or something.
Oh,
I would
next
love
week.
that.
Well, I always put in our lineup.
Yeah, I always
that
do
we
too.
make too. I always put it in.
We split it 3 ways.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be sweet. But
I
love that lineup. That lineup we made tonight, I think that looks super unique.
Mm-hmm.
I just have this weird gut feeling about Naim Heinz, man. I really do. I think
sneaky pick.
Yep, I think he's gonna be super low owned.
But as always, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, like the video, share the video. We're putting this out everywhere: Facebook, Twitter, Reddit even. We're just gonna put it out there. Watch it. If you're a DFS player, this is the spot for you. We are here to win you some money and win some money ourselves. Hey, this holds us accountable as well. Makes us dig into the research, see which price fits the lineups the best, and hey, we're here to make some money. Follow my TikTok at FF Perspective. Shooting out content every single day. I appreciate all the support I've gotten on there. And yeah, tune in each week. This is the Fantasy Football Locker Room. I am signing out. Peace.
Good luck.